We've already acknowledged it, but Tuesday is Veterans Day, so let me start there. Thank you to all our veterans. Our country and our community have been built on your courage and your commitment to the ideals of our country and of service to others, and we're all eternally grateful. When I first read Luke's Gospel today, given that my music playlist is often tuned to 1960s era songs, the first notion that came to my head was a song by Herman's Hermits, Henry VIII. They sing it in a Cockney accent. I'm sure I can't pull that off, but here are the words. I'm Henry VIII, I am. Henry VIII, I am, I am. I got married to the widow next door. She's been married 7 times before, and every one was an Henry. She wouldn't have a Willie or a Sam. I'm her 8th old man, I'm Henry. Henry VIII, I am. No, this is a silly song, and I don't mention it to try to be funny. Rather, I think the song is right on point and that it's ridiculous, because the Sadducees' question to Jesus is silly as well. The Sadducees were a religious and political party of wealthy, aristocratic priests in ancient Jerusalem. They controlled the temple in Jerusalem and the Sanhedrin, as the Jewish court was known, holding power through their close ties with Roman rulers. And in their beliefs, they rejected resurrection, angels, spirits, and the authority of oral tradition, believing only the strict written Torah to be binding. And their hypothetical to Jesus is this: a woman's husband dies, and under Jewish custom, she marries the next brother who dies, and so on until she's married and outlived all 7 brothers. So when she dies, who is she married to in the next life? The Sadducees are trying to trick Jesus. In their tradition, they do not believe in our resurrection from an earthly life. They're trying to entrap Jesus to discredit him. Let's focus on how Jesus shapes their question to teach us today. Jesus' words at the conclusion of the gospel are, God is not of the dead, but of the living. What does he mean by that? Well, especially as a child, but even now, my concern when contemplating life after death is not an esoteric one like the Sadducees raised, but a rather more basic one. In first visiting the North Carolina mountains, I remember seeing a huge sign as you entered the Nantahala River area, and it said, "Where will you be in eternity, heaven or hell?" And then I went to college and I took an entire semester course in Dante. And we spent almost the entire time on the Inferno and only spent a week or so on Paradiso at the end. And then I went to football games at Chapel Hill for 25 years, or Carolina as we call it up there. And there was always a man holding a sign right by the bell tower, and it's asked, "Where would you be if you died at this football game, heaven or hell?" So the next life is taken as sort of a given in all these signs. It's more a question of where you would end up. This is sort of a turbocharged analogy to that concern some of us had as children around Christmas time about whether we were getting presents or lumps of coal. And if you knew me as a child, you would know these were legitimate concerns that I had. As silly as the Sadducees' question was, we also may slip into asking ourselves needlessly detailed questions such as, will my beloved dogs, Boo, Rebel, Lucy, Lady, Jack, River, will they be with us? Will I see and recognize my friends and family? We may have a different motivation than the Sadducees, but we too may fall into rabbit holes of overly detailed searches for answers. Here in this church, we have a view of our gorgeous churchyard containing the remains of many departed from this parish going back almost 300 years. And last week, we dedicated the compass rose, which helps us find specific graves. And on the compass is the cross of St. George, an inscription in Greek, which translates, "The truth shall set you free." We've all lost loved ones, close family and friends. And this is the Eucharistic prayer at funerals. For to you, your faithful people, O Lord, life has changed, not ended. And when our mortal body lies in death, there is prepared for us a dwelling place eternal in the heavens. I think this hope for an eternal and heavenly dwelling place is captured well in the old folk song, Will the Circle Be Unbroken? Many musicians have recorded this song, but my favorite version is by country blues singer Mississippi John Hurt, who recorded it way back in 1938 when the National Archives moved him and his whole family to D.C. so they could record some of these beautiful spiritual songs. I was standing by my window on a cold and cloudy day when I saw the hearse come rolling for to carry my mother away. Will the circle be unbroken by and by, Lord, by and by? There's a better home awaiting in the sky, Lord, in the sky. This song addresses life after death and questions whether a circle of family will be made whole in the afterlife. After the grief of losing a loved one, we long to remain connected. We have hope of reunion. We are a Christian family, all followers of Jesus, and that circle represents more than the literal family. It represents a broader spiritual and emotional connection to a community, both living and deceased. Will the circle be unbroken is asking a question, one filled with some level of uncertainty. Will the circle be unbroken? It expresses hope and yearning for reunion and the heartache wondering whether that reunion will come. This song acknowledges suffering and offers hope that eases the earthly pain. So we know the Old Testament contains rules about Jewish customs. The Jewish custom related in today's gospel, calling for a man to marry his brother's widow, is aimed at providing physical and financial care for widows, a worthy moral goal of that custom. But really, the Sadducees' question of Jesus has little to do with those ethical concerns. One of the great gifts of Jesus' teaching is to simplify things. The law of Moses contains 613 commandments, 248 positive, thou shalt do, and 365 negative, thou shalt not. And Jesus summarized God's law in 2 commandments. Love the Lord your God with all your heart and soul and with all your mind, and love your neighbor as yourself. So Jesus allows vagueness. He allows mystery, even debate. And as he says in answer to the Sadducees, those who marry belong to this age and are given in marriage, but those who are considered worthy of a place in that age and in the resurrection from the death neither marry nor are given in marriage. In Luke's gospel, Jesus also uses the story of the burning bush to show that the dead are raised, because God identifies himself as the God of Abraham, the God of Isaac, the God of Jacob. At the time God spoke to Moses at the burning bush, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob had been dead for hundreds of years. But he refers to them in the present tense, still living, implying a continuation of their existence and as the roots of our faith. And in Luke's gospel, Jesus cites this as proof of resurrection for all of us. So we do not have all of the details, or many of the details, or maybe any of the details about what the next life will be, the age to come. So perhaps that leaves some doubts. As a Christian, is it okay to have doubts? Of course. I think it's a questioning faith is a stronger faith. And I want to draw on another modern song that gives voice to that. Iris DeMint is a frequent collaborator with John Prine, and they sing a lot of duets together. And she sings a song called Let the Mystery Be. And it starts this way. Everybody is wondering what and where they all came from. Everybody's worrying about where they're going to go when the whole thing's done. But no one knows for certain, and so it's all the same to me. I think I'll just let the mystery be. Some say once you're gone forever. And some say you're going to come back. It finishes with these lines. I believe in love, and I live my life accordingly, but I choose to let the mystery be. So what I tell myself is this: God is life, God is love. Believe in love and try your best to live your life accordingly. Doubts are expected. The exact details of our beliefs may vary. But we've done an important thing today. We've all showed up. We've come to church today to sing songs, pray, speak to long friends, meet new friends. A community is not about having the exact same beliefs. It's about finding something good in each other. Just by showing up today, we've shown a curiosity. More than that, we've shown a trust in God and guiding our lives. And if we've done that, then I think we can certainly trust God with the mysteries of our life after death. How often do we see in the Bible that even Jesus' disciples just don't understand Jesus? But they are trying, they're searching, they're discerning. So have hope that whether we have kin buried out in the churchyard here, or we're just a stranger passing through this church today, we belong, we are family, we belong to the Christian community. Amen.